First of all, thank you so much for joining with Vietnam Television today. My first question is, what are your comments on the current ceasefire that Israel and Iran have reached? And were you surprised by how suddenly the ceasefire was achieved? And if so, why?
Actually, I was not surprised. I think the ceasefire is in effect and seems to be holding. We don't know how long it will last, but for now it is holding. It is, in a way, a logical outcome of the military operations because the United States and Israel both believe that the targeting of the Iranian nuclear program was very, very effective and very successful. Um, and that was the primary target, the primary reason for the United States to intervene. So the American objectives were achieved. Israel had a bit broader objectives. It also wanted to take out Iran's ballistic missiles as much as possible, the production capability to build the ballistic missiles, but also the launchers. And to a large degree, those results were also achieved. So, and Israel also attacked regime targets, Iranian regime targets. So, from their perspective, I think it was also a reasonable time to stop the war. From the Iranian perspective, I think they were under a lot of pressure, and we know that they were looking for a way out. They approached various Arab countries, I think primarily Qatar, but maybe some others as well, to talk to the Americans and to the Israelis and ask for a ceasefire. Um, and so all of those elements came together, and the ceasefire, President Trump announced the ceasefire, when was it, Monday morning, I think. It did take a few hours to go into effect. There were some strikes back and forth, which often happens when a ceasefire is about to come into effect, that militaries want to carry out their final missions before. Um, but it's now in effect, and we'll see. I hope it holds.
Yes, but we have to focus again about the word, suddenly, because, the heat was so high, and suddenly we can talk about the ceasefire. So, were you surprised?
I'm not sure. I'm not surprised, really. I was. It was, as you know from our previous conversations,
Yes.
President Trump was deliberately vague about what he intended to do.
Yes.
And I think the last time we spoke, he had said, am I going to bomb Iran? Maybe I will, maybe I won't.
Yes.
And he was leaving a lot of question marks about what his intentions were.
Yes.
We saw, of course, over the weekend that he did launch the strikes. I think they deliberately deceived the Iranians, just as Israel had deceived them before it began its campaign. But I don't think there was any surprise to try to call a halt to it once the main objectives were achieved.
So how about the performance of Donald Trump here?
Look, I mean, Donald Trump has plenty of critics at home. But personally, I think he did a remarkable job. I've looked a bit at the historical record. Every American president since Bill Clinton has said Iran must not be allowed to have a nuclear bomb. And yet every president before President Trump in his second term have wanted to use some combination of sanctions, economic pressure, and diplomacy to prevent Iran from building a bomb, and none of that was successful. We could see that Iran continued to enrich and to prepare the infrastructure for a large nuclear program.
So and so, a change gamer.
Yes, a game changer. Yes, it was a game changer. Yes.
So after 12 days of conflict, How do you assess the significant changes in this, technology-driven war?
There is talk about this is several other nuclear programs have been demolished by air attack by Israel, but they were very small programs. Iraq in 1981 was the first one. Syria in 2007, I think, the second, but they were single reactors. They were not a huge infrastructure that Iran built over more than 20 years. So it is a different approach. The intervention of the United States directly in the military operation is also a different approach. As I just mentioned, previous presidents have all wanted some combination of economic pressure and diplomacy, but President Trump felt that he needed to finish what Israel had started, if I may.
Yes. So, in order to achieve a lasting peace in such a sensitive region as the Middle East, what conditions do you think are necessary?
Well, I'll share my opinion and the opinion of the American Jewish Committee and most of the American Jewish community, I believe, which is the underlying element that's been lacking is an acknowledgement of Israel's right to exist in peace and security in the region. Iran has never, the Islamic Republic of Iran has never accepted that. They still don't accept that. And that is a large barrier to peace. Iran under the Shah had relations with Israel. And there is no objective reason that there should be a conflict between Iran and Israel. So hopefully at some point in the future there will no longer be a conflict.
Do you have a high hope here for the peace?
I think, like many things, I think it will take time. But I am optimistic. I think there is a real potential for change. But a number of things have to happen first, and let's hope for the best.
Yes, you hope for the best. But what can you say about the role of GCC nation here? Because, we have to talk about them.
The GCC has been an important element of international stability. It is as you know, a world center of finance and innovation, and I think will have an increasingly important role in world affairs. Yeah, of course, that's not even mentioning its long-standing role as the major energy producer, one of the world's major centers of energy production and export, which I think will continue. I don't think the hydrocarbon economy is going to go away very soon. So the GCC is tremendously important. The fact that the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain made the decision almost 5 years ago to establish full relations with Israel, I think is very, very important, and creates a new model for Arab-Israeli relations. I don't know if you saw Steve Witkoff,
Yes.
President Trump's special representative, announced yesterday in Washington that he expected to see more countries join the Abraham Accords soon.
Yes.
I don't know exactly what he's referring to, but we're watching with interest to see what happens.
Yeah. Once again, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.